Body is so back. And what better way to first talk about reasons why you should or should not summon for the upcoming break Reviver, Constance, or the Dahlia. The way this video is going to be structured is I'm going to be talking about the Dahlia and her kit mainly, talking about why it is so strong and why it is so crucial for these break teams. Similar to my other shitty summon videos, at the very end I will be giving reasons why you, the viewer, should or should not summon. Wanted to upload this a few days ago, but I did fall behind schedule since the Dahlia is more of a considered unit for a lot of people that have been playing the game for a while, so you might have some form of a break team, so you might have been considering to skip or not. So I'm sure a lot of people are more torn apart between her, because pretty much it is reviving the old playstyle of break, or if you should just skip it entirely. And if you already had it at some point in time, leaving it to die. By the way, you're not going to see break in the background, at least for the background footage, just because I don't want to use it. I don't care. Anyway, enjoy. Support me and the channel by clicking my link in the description and trying out Raid Shadow Legends. You'll start your account with the legendary champ Elenarl, as well as 3 awesome epics as you progress through the game. I appreciate all your guys' support. Remember to click the link and let's crush this. So for starters, of course, let's first talk about the Dahlia herself and what makes her really valuable. Inherently, break has had a really big problem regarding the fact that it, literally needs to break the enemies to do any form of damage. Maybe it wasn't too much of a problem back then, obviously in like 2.x when break was very prevalent and also focused. Outside of not being focused too much, break had more of a problem that something a regular DPS would have less of, because the regular DPS, obviously they got infected with like HP inflation and such. So that would be the main thing they had to deal with. They would have to deal with the fact that enemies are getting stronger and they're also gaining a lot more HP, so they have to do more damage. Break, on the other hand, had to deal with that and also the fact that enemies' toughnesses were actually getting larger as well. So not only did Break have to receive the short end of the stick when it came to damage, because oftentimes the damage they did, while it could be really good, obviously it was not going to be up to par at all times, because obviously you need to break them to get that form of damage anyway, so there's some form of downtime. But also the fact that enemies' toughness bars were getting higher and higher. The Dahlia is the one and only solution we have currently to this problem, allowing break characters to kind of lose their identity as break characters and kind of just become what they need to do, and that is be able to trigger super break damage outside of breaking enemies. So if the enemy is not broken, you can still convert to super break. Albeit it is less damage than you would do as opposed to if they were actually broken. If they're broken, they're going to take more damage because the conversion is at its fullest. But the Dahlia is able to let you actually be able to proc super break even if the enemy is not broken, which is what break really needs. This allows you to not have super big downtimes. Maybe there's a boss that has weakness lock at some point, or maybe they just have a lot of toughness, or maybe quickly refreshing toughness that could happen. Obviously after you broke an enemy, you had like run may delay, few further action delay, so on and so forth, but regardless, you are now able to do damage at all times. This is something break really needed because now their damage is no longer loaded to the fact that they need to break in order to do damage, which unfortunately as the game did progress, it proved that they can't really sustain a playstyle like that being break, just because of the issue I did mention. Not only did enemies' HP go up, their toughness also went up, a lot more battles introduced toughness locks, so on and so forth. Because of that, break finally got a thing that kind of makes it again lose its identity, but it is the main fixing part of break. To top it all off, the Dahlia's kit is absolutely loaded for this team, not only letting them do super break regardless if they are broken or not, and by them I mean the enemies, being able to obviously convert to super break, which is going to be needed on these supports, good toughness on her own, and also having relatively good buffs, being able to buff break effect of the characters based off her own break effect, a little more on the privileged side, but if you are able to implant a weakness, so Bootail or Firefly on the teams respectively, you are able to get a 30% speed buff, which is a lot of speed, and break characters love speed, so because they get a 30% speed buff, that's going to be really good for their speed tuning. Of course, she is more tuned to Firefly because one, the weakness implant is very consistent on Firefly since she can do it with every enhanced skill, and also the energy part of that trace is only if you are fire, and the only character that is fire that can implant weakness like that is none other than, of course, the Dahlia herself and then Firefly. But even ignoring that, her kit is very loaded in a sense. Also, she does have a follow-up attack, so she can very much help you reduce toughness, so your main DPS can come in and take the break and not be forced to deal with everything themselves. So you have everyone on the team mainly assisting somewhat to get them down when it comes to break, and the Dahlia does that as well, especially with their follow-up attacks, and at the same time, with triggering Super Break, can also do really good damage. On top of that, as I did mention with an implant part, the Dahlia also does just have permanent fire weakness on enemies, because she is able to implant the weakness of the dance partner, which is going to be the main DPS you are implanting, which I'll get into in a second on why it's so good, but the Dahlia will be able to implant permanent fire weakness, which the break team also always will contain Fugue nowadays, which is why that is going to be really good, because not only is the Dahlia going to get a big benefit from that for full toughness reduction, you're also going to get it from someone like Fugue, and if Linkshot or Gallagher on the team, they will as well. And I'm not even going to expand on this so much because it's so obvious on why the fact that she's able to implant the dance partner's weakness onto the enemies is why it's just so broken. For Firefly, it doesn't really matter too much because not only does she already implant fire always, but someone like Rappa who can't implant imaginary weakness whatsoever, that is huge. You're no longer going to be gated to the 50% that she can have in her kit. You're getting the full effect, so she's going to be able to break so much more. For someone like Bootil, who's only able to do it to one enemy. Anytime you don't have the ultimate up, you can time your Dahlia ult well, and boom, now they all will also have physical weakness, so Bootil can freely just switch between targets when you need to kill whoever you need to kill. On top of that, the state that she does inflict that also implants a weakness, being the willed state, does reduce everyone's defense by 18%, and break characters love defense shred/ignore. So that's even more that is being provided from Constance herself. And then the brief talk on vertical investment. Her vertical investment is insane. E1 applies this super break damage multiplier to the dance partner to all ally characters, which is just absolutely crazy. And for the dance partner themselves, they get an additional 40% boost to that. On top of that, dealing additional fixed amount of toughness reduction equal to 25% of the enemy target's max toughness, so the more they have, the more it's gonna do. It's just crazy. You get so much help when it comes to lowering toughness from that alone, and then also if you go up to her E2, it's crazy because you practically have perma wilt state. Because now anytime she's on the field, everyone's all type res gets lowered by 20%, so that's insane damage increase. And they immediately get inflicted with the wilt state, as I did mention, so that's instant defense shred and also weakness implant. The Lycon's also solid since it increases break damage dealt by the wearer and the person who triggered combat, so in that case would be your main DPS. And depending on the team, the skill point recovery can be really good. Lycon, definitely not as good as the E1 and E2 in my opinion, but still fine. Just having good vertical investment is really strong. Now finally, reasons why you, the viewer, should summon. If you use break whatsoever, and I mean any break team, Himiko, Linksha, Firefly, Bootil, Rappa, you still use them somewhat to this day for your clears, pull Constance. It's just going to be an upgrade. There's no team where she's not an upgrade. She is going to be what's needed in the future, she's what's needed now, and she's going to be an upgrade across the board. I don't care what combination you are doing, if you use it whatsoever, pull her. She is an upgrade by a good margin. Another case would be maybe you use it occasionally and you want to use it more. If you want to use it more, you're gonna want to pull her. Again, it's just insane. She is a must pull for break. It's like what Fugue did when she released. She wasn't regarded as a must pull. You could still get by without her, but like nowadays you definitely want her and she's always on the best teams. But this time it's just like 5 times over. You want her. She is just broken. If you're interested in getting into break, if you use break somewhat or you main it, you want to pull her. Even if it's just E0 S0, she provides so much by fixing the crucial downtime of allowing them to proc super break when the enemies are not weakest broken. That alone is insanely valuable. Her kit is loaded for these break characters, providing speed, break effect, defense shred, weakness implant, good toughness lowering on her own. She just does everything that you want for a break unit support. So again, if you are using break actively, you use it somewhat, but you maybe want to get into it more, or you really want to get into the actual playstyle of it, maybe you want to pull one of the DPSs and you're going to pull Constance, you're able to pull the whole team, since also at the same time the next half, or not the next half, but this half Firefly is rerunning, and then the phase 2 you can pull for Linkshot and also Fugue. Mainly Fugue in that sense, Linkshot is more on the replaceable side. In that case, pull her. Again, if you want to use break at all, you're going to want her. She is just a must-have. And then reasons why you shouldn't summon, very obvious. If you don't use break and you're not interested in getting into it at all, don't bother. There are a lot of times where I can be like, oh, maybe you use the team, but your funds are tight and you can't really get into it too much. Maybe the team can still be fine without it. It's like if you have Tribby and you want to pull Cyrene for the Remembrance team. In those cases, I'd be like, yeah, you can probably do without it. In this case, no. But yeah, if you just don't want to get into break, really, obviously, I don't really think you'd be watching this video if you were. If you're not interested in the break and you are not able to get her, then I just would not bother. She is, again, going to be on every single team, and not having her is going to do you a big disservice, especially if they don't really end up doing money break buffs after this, like they did with Fugue, where Fugue released and we didn't get an update until now. If they do that again, then obviously that's going to be a problem, and she is going to be the reason to keep the team afloat. She makes it super strong right now, able to clear all types of endgame already. already again, and she is definitely going to be needed for the future bosses to come, the future patches to come, so on and so forth. So again, really, if you're not really too interested in the team or break archetype in general, then obviously that would be the only case to skip, because in any cases where you are interested in it somewhat or you use it, you would really just pull. Anyway, that does wrap up this video talking about what makes the Dahlia super wanted for break, reasons why you should and should not summon for her as well. I do hope you found this video helpful. If you did, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of style content. Check the description to check out my Arcade channel, and once again, if you are interested whatsoever in Raid Shadow Legends, be sure to click that link in the description down below, or the pinned comment to make your account and get an insanely strong start. It also supports the channel a bit, so a win-win. So yes, if you are, once again, interested in Raid Shadow Legends whatsoever, definitely feel free to click the link, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.